Ayodeji Adewumi. I'm the President and CEO of Jobberman. Jobberman.com is currently the largest employment website in sub-Saharan Africa, outside of South Africa. It was started in 2009 with two other co-founders. So in the space of disruption with respect to technology, in a matter of 4 years, we've been able to significantly play a key part in the structural migration of people who typically will look for employment in the newspapers and, of course, in all the traditional media. We have moved them online. And one of the key driving forces behind that is when you look at Africa, you discover that the cost of broadband penetration has significantly been dropping over the last 10 years. And of course, when you also look at Africa itself, like he mentioned in his vision talk, you discover that Africa has one of the largest amount of people in the labor force. Nigeria, for example, is the 9th most important labor force market with about 50 million people within the working population. That's a huge market size. And increasingly, when you look at rural-urban migration, you discover that increasingly people are looking for jobs. And of course, one thing that makes jobs very important is jobs is integral to social economic progression. It's pretty much like a lifestyle engineering tool. So I think one of the key things that we'll see over the next 5 to 10 years is we're going to see some of these changes happening in other key sectors as well. Retail is one other example that is extremely changing. It's changing in a very interesting way. Look at Nigeria, for example. Some of the biggest internet news happening on the continent is happening in the retail space. Retail alone, e-commerce alone has been able to attract about 100 to 150 million dollars in the last 12 months in Nigeria alone. And of course, when you look at other key sectors, look at the financial service sector. The financial service sector is one of the biggest sectors anywhere you are in the world, whether you're in Nigeria, Mozambique, Angola, Kenya, or even Nigeria. You discover that the market opportunity is huge. For example, look at Nigeria. Nigeria has a consumer spend of over $150 billion annually. And on the back of that, when you look at the consumer credit market, the consumer credit market alone has, in terms of size, is about a $50 billion annual market. So when you're talking about the $50 billion annual market opportunity, and your ability to execute on the $50 billion opportunity is just 1%, then of course you'll be able to create a $500 million business in, say, 3 years. So clearly, I think there are opportunities everywhere, all the key major sectors. And when you look at financial services is clearly one of the key driver of any economy. It's same thing for Nigeria. And when you look at Nigeria structurally, you find out that the ability of people to be able to attract credit is extremely low. Why is it low? Of course, when you talk to the traditional banks or the commercial banks, they find it extremely unattractive to give unsecured loans, for example, to people that really don't have a credit history. And why don't people have a credit history? Because the data points are not out there. So the opportunities are out there for someone to build out the data points, for someone to build out a solution in that space. So clearly, whether you're talking of retail with e-commerce, or you're talking financial services with unsecured credit loan solution, or when you're talking about employment, which is a huge opportunity as well, a lot of disruption is currently being done and can be done on the continent. And my charge to you guys this morning is, if you're thinking of Africa and you're serious about Africa, I think the time is now. All the other speakers have spoken about that, but I think the best way to do that is you just need to start now. And the best way to address any opportunity is look for a big enough market opportunity to go after. And of course, the biggest risk you stand with any projects is your execution risk. Of course, there are political risk, there are business climate risk, there is currency risk, but the biggest risk you stand really at the end of the day is execution risk. And why is it execution risk? You'll discover that the most successful businesses in the world are built on people. And your ability to be able to execute very well on any idea will determine how successful the idea will be. So at the end of the day, for you to be able to expand the scope of your success, or to be able to increase your chances or your chance of being successful, is you look for a big enough opportunity that even if you execute at 1% of the market opportunity, then you still have a fantastic opportunity in terms of ability to create wealth, and of course ability to create value out of the opportunity. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Hi everyone. My name is Samru Deli, and I am the CEO and founder of Golden Palm Investments, GPI.